We're a week away from the 2024 NFL trade deadline, so should we go live this year? Should we break down all the trades as they happen, hang out, and spend time discussing the most important thing of that particular day? If you want us to, like the video right now. Before we get into some trade rumors, some news that we have to get into here on NFL Daily. The Baltimore Ravens have acquired Diontae Johnson for a 2025 sixth-round pick, only giving up a fifth-round pick in exchange, so that's like 15-ish, maybe 20 if you're lucky, depending on comp picks. Pick swap difference there for a half season of Diontae Johnson for a player who also, by the way, the Panthers are eating most of the base salary for. A lot of interest in Diontae Johnson has been the reporting. Are we sure about that? Because that's basically free. Someone is maybe not being truthful. There's some attitude stuff concerns with Diontae Johnson, but the Ravens had two good wide receivers. This is a third one. He's better than Aguilar, I'll tell you that much. So who won the trade? P for the Panthers, R for the Ravens. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. That might not be the biggest news, though, of the day. The Colts are benching Anthony Richardson already in favor of backup quarterback Joe Flacco, as in two straight different years and different teams, Joe Flacco has been the better backup to the guy that was more invested in both Indy and in Cleveland, which is honestly kind of hilarious. I'll say this. Now, the Colts have said that this wasn't about the whole subbing out for a play due to being tired and fatigued. I don't know if I believe them, because I'll be honest, that is a joke. Subbing out because you were tired as the quarterback is stupid. You don't get to do that. That's not how it works. You're the quarterback. That is an embarrassment. And the locker room can turn against you with that kind of stuff. Like, you're subbing, you're our leader, you're subbing out, what are you doing? Quarterback doesn't get to do that. Doesn't make any sense. Now, the Colts are saying, well, that's not why we've done that. We're not making that decision. That's not the reason. They keep saying that this is not a benching, it's a break. Okay, this is no different than when you break up with your girlfriend or vice versa, and one person says, we're not broken up, it's a break. No, you've broken up. You're done. It's not going to work. You can try to get back together later. It is not a happy ending. It does not end well. Outside of Troy Aikman, kind of, sort of. Jana, that's it. Richardson was not playing well. That is absolutely true. Alex, not all his fault, but you don't complete 44.5% of your passes only because the supporting cast is terrible. Like, he was not playing well. When the same guy that's replaced him now in Joe Flacco was much better as a passer. That's very clear. We know that. But we also know this was also kind of the plan. You drafted the young raw guy knowing he was going to play like a young raw guy and you were going to have a multi-year plan for him. Now you're bailing 7 full games in? Something does not pass the smell test here. And I wonder if this did not come down from Shane Steichen, if this came down from ownership. And ownership says, I want to win games now. I don't want to, I can make the playoffs. I don't want to keep losing. And mandate was play your best guy, which is Flacco right now. More thoughts on this to come. But is benching Anthony Richardson the right move? Why for yes and for no? Go vote at the pinned comment of today's show. The whole reason you drafted Anthony Richardson was to get the next Josh Allen. Now, the likelihood of that bet hitting, we can have that conversation. That's fine. But the numbers for their first almost identical passing attempts, similar-ish numbers of games. Richardson's played 10 games in the NFL. That's it. The numbers, they're nearly identical. Like, bad completion percentage, not that great yards per attempt, good rushing ability, more touchdowns, similar turnovers. The numbers are identical. Now, look, to an extent, this is chasing the dragon of Josh Allen, which isn't going to happen very often. But this is what you signed up for. You drafted Anthony Richardson, the raw, young, immensely gifted quarterback, knowing he's going to have his lumps. He's not going to play that well. He was 20 years old when you took him. You have to give him playing time. You have to give him reps. Now you're benching him 7 full games in? What is your plan, Indy? If your plan is, hey, we got to win games right now, no matter what, sure, that's Joe Flacco. He's clearly better right now. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. Also, why is your DC still there? Doesn't make much sense. But if your plan is to put your franchise in the best spot possible, isn't that Richardson long-term? Or at least the hope of Anthony Richardson? Can you really go back to Richardson now? The Colts are saying, hey, this is not a benching. This is a break. This is going to be a growth opportunity for him. He needs reps. He's like 22 starts since high school. Those guys don't get better sitting. It doesn't work like that. Ask Trey Lance. By doing this, whether they want to admit it or not, the coach saying it's over. It's not going to work for Anthony Richardson because this has never worked. When was the last time the young, raw quarterback started a bunch of games, got benched, and then the team went back to him and it was all fixed? Kind of Troy Aikman in 1991, but he also got hurt and they just rode the hot hand and then came back to him. John Elway, those are extreme outliers. You are saying that we value that 8 or 9 win season a lot more than the long term. And I get that. If the locker room is mad, I get that. Trust me, I do. But the locker room is also going to be mad if you win 8 games and you have a new veteran quarterback in the next offseason. That's what you're doing here. Like, you're going to be in the quarterback market again this offseason, which is a bad market. You're going to be going, oh, let's try Anthony Richardson again, and though he hasn't played and hasn't got any better yet. And it's going to be Daniel Jones and Justin Fields, which is like just playing the A-Rich game, but with a more known quantity. Like, I don't know. Here's a big takeaway, too, NFL-wise. If you're a young QB, the value of the contract is very valuable. Don't get me wrong. But you're not going to get developed right now. We've seen this a lot. Teams are not sticking by the young QB. They are not giving them time to grow and learn once they start playing. Maybe with the benefits about NIL, it makes sense to go back to the Bill Parcells ways of getting those 3 years starting and then ending up in the NFL. Now, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets to your next big event. They've got a feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It is simply curation, designed to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and anything else in between. The all-in pricing feature shows your total cost up front once you toggle it on, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. The Game Time guarantee is this. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Now, terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Let's talk trade rumors. There's a week till the deadline. How can we not here? Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis was very adamant this weekend in a ESPN conversation, or maybe messaged, ESPN is better, that the Raiders are not going to trade Maxx Crosby. Mark Davis's email to ESPN was the old all caps, every word email. We're not trading Maxx Crosby before or after the trade deadline. And by the way, there were a lot of jokes about, what do you mean by after the deadline? You can't do it afterwards. It's called the offseason, guys. Like, that's clearly what he meant. You're not trade him now and not once the year's over. That's how I took it, and I don't know how anyone else took it otherwise. Context clues here. I'm not surprised this is the Raiders' take, and I'm not surprised there's been rumors on it because teams have called. And this is one of those, I'm sending it to Schefter, so he tweets it out, and everybody in the world knows it. Maxx Crosby is a dog. There's a handful of players, especially along the defensive line, the trenches, that I enjoy watching more than Maxx Crosby. Unbelievable work ethic, unbelievable energy. Almost every down player defensive end doesn't really exist very often. Has barely missed any snaps in his NFL career. He's awesome. He is an awesome football player, and he's actually kind of affordable. Now, his cap hit this year for the Raiders is $30 million. The cap hit and the cash owed, which is what the new team would have to pay him if they traded for him, actually drops each season. Now, there's no guaranteed money left. I think there is a very obvious solution that's going to happen after the season ends because the Raiders already kind of gave Crosby some more money. He's getting a new contract after this year. They're going to extend him and make him, if not the highest paid defensive player in the NFL, one of the highest paid players in the NFL. So the next year-ish, what is more likely for the Raiders and Maxx Crosby? T, if they trade him and the Lions get to bring the Eastern Michigan guy home, or E, if they're going to extend him? Let me know in the comments of today's show. Now, look, Crosby doesn't want to trade either. And sometimes, everyone's got their own podcast these days. And when you're a beloved player, nobody cares about it. When your team's winning, no one cares about it. But it's also ignored sometimes. And Crosby has already answered this last week on his podcast. I'm sitting here innocently and just doing what I do. I feel like I got to address it with my teammates. I'm not trying to leave. I don't have 100% control and all that, but I want to be here. I want to be silver and black. I'll say it loud and effing clear. I want to be a Raider. I've said that over and over and over again. He's not lying. He has said that a lot. You can ask my boy Mitchell Renz. This has always been a pipe dream from other NFL fan bases. Now, he wants to win. He doesn't want to be here for a big-time rebuild. And the Raiders are kind of in this weird spot of I don't really know what they are because the quarterback thing is super weird right now. But Crosby's not getting traded. Never say never, whatever. I don't foresee it happening. Now, our next goal here on Chat Sports is 385,000 subscribers. 352 away. I'd like to get there before NFL trade deadline so we can make 386 the next big number. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. Let's talk DK Metcalf trade. This is from Jason Lockenfora, so asterisk it. That's why it's in the rumors section. He reports that several teams have reached out to the Seahawks about a potential DK Metcalf trade. Here's what JLC wrote for the Washington Post sports section. Brace yourself for DK Metcalf to become this week's Cooper Kupp, which, by the way, hasn't happened yet. The subject of plenty of chatter. Enterprising GMs are reaching out to Seahawks GM John Schneider, as they have in the past, but interested parties aren't optimistic. Metcalf is one of Schneider's favorite players, and at 4-4, the Seahawks are in the playoff hunt, despite losses in 3 of the past 4 games. But widespread injuries have increased demand for receiver help, and the deals already have diminished the supply. I bet Pittsburgh called. Promise you that one there. Metcalf, if Seattle wanted to, it's actually very movable. The way his contract is structured, it's a $15 million cap hit. The cash is basically zero. You would owe DK Metcalf the vet minimum this year and $18 million next year. Now, at this point in his NFL career, I think we mostly know what and who DK Metcalf is. He doesn't turn 27 till December, but this is mostly what you're going to get. Now, he's putting up numbers that are more closely in line to his elite 2020 campaign when he went for 1,300 yards. But every year of his career, the worst that DK Metcalf has done is 900. And that was his first season. He'll get you 1,000 yards pretty consistently. He is a dynamic vertical threat. He's got big size. He can't do the 3-cone drill. Nobody cares. He's a good football player. I think Seattle's more inclined to pay him again this upcoming offseason than trade him. But if a team gets desperate, the contract's affordable. Nothing wrong with trying and calling, at least.